Are the Lakers right back on track to win the chip? Let's get into this. After being hit with the injury bug, the Los Angeles Lakers are currently up 2-1 on the Phoenix Suns in a 2-7 matchup. So that leads to the question, are the Los Angeles Lakers right back on track to win a championship this season? Now, of course, the whole reason why the Lakers were the 7th seed in the first place was because LeBron and Anthony Davis were hurt for a big portion of the season. And now in the playoffs, both of them are playing again. Anthony Davis obviously is hurting out there, but he's healthy enough to play, and LeBron is definitely a little bit healthier than AD out there. So it's good to see both of them playing out there, and that's the big reason why they're playing so well against the Suns. So of course the first step for the Lakers getting back on track to win that championship is to get LeBron and AD healthy, which they did, which is good. But now let's take apart the Lakers game offensively and defensively and see how they fare, and if they're up to par with where they were last season or if they're a little bit worse. First, let's start with LeBron. We all know what LeBron brings to the table. He's one of the best players of all time, of course, but especially in game 3, he really started taking his game to the next level again, getting to the basket efficiently, just working whatever defender they would put on him. He was really working Jay Crowder in the last game. He really looks like he's getting healthier again, which is good to see. And of course, besides the ability to score on literally anybody they put on him and make those strong drives to the basket and dunk over whoever or finish over whoever, LeBron's also a great passer in this league, one of the best passers we have in the league. So obviously that opens up the defense for the Suns and really makes it difficult for them to guard the team when you know your best player LeBron could either score on whoever you put on him, so you need to double team him, but when you double team him, he has the ability to kick out to whoever's wide open, and he has that vision and ability. So LeBron's starting to play like LeBron again prior to the injury, so that's always good to see, and that's a huge step for the Lakers to get back to that championship. Now let's talk about Anthony Davis. Obviously when you watch Anthony Davis, especially in game 3, you can tell he's in a ton of pain out there, and he's laboring, but he's still playing pretty well. He's getting offensive rebounds, putting back shots, and he's still a superstar in this league. He's still putting up a lot of buckets, but you can obviously tell he's limping out there and he's really hurt. Even if AD is clearly hurt and really struggling to put up buckets on the offensive end, he's still AD, and he would require double teams at times. So just having AD out there is really effective for the Lakers and really opens up the defense. But the fact that AD is still getting offensive rebounds and putting back shots and still playing decently well even though he's hurt is really good to see. And also the Lakers are getting some help from other guys, like Wesley Matthews hitting threes and playing defense helps them significantly, and a guy like Dennis Schroeder is really stepping up at that point guard position in terms of his scoring ability, just to take a little pressure off AD and LeBron by being able to create for himself and score the basketball. But one guy I'm a little disappointed in is Andre Drummond. When Andre was playing for the Cleveland Cavaliers earlier on in the season, he was absolutely dominating and playing the best basketball of his career. And when he came to the Lakers, I wasn't expecting that, of course, but I was expecting him to be a pretty valuable piece for this Los Angeles Lakers team. But he's been a little disappointing so far. Yeah, he's definitely getting his rebound numbers. He always does that throughout his whole career. But in terms of his domination, he's not really dominating players in the post like he was for the Cavs. So that's a little disappointing to see, and he's not really getting enough minutes because he's not playing well enough. But maybe it's just a bad matchup against the Phoenix Suns, and maybe against a different team he would play a little better, or maybe he just doesn't have good chemistry with the Lakers, or maybe it just sucks. I don't know. We'll see what happens with Andre Drummond, but I thought he could have been a really valuable piece to that team. We'll see what happens with him going forward though. The Lakers are definitely starting to look up when at a point in the season it was looking pretty bleak for them, especially due to the fact that they were the 7th seed in the West. But of course they're still in the playoffs against the Phoenix Suns, and they're still up 2-1. They're only up 2-1. So that series is definitely not even over. So let's talk about that series first before they can even move on. So of course the first game against the Phoenix Suns wasn't great for the Lakers. They didn't play great out there, but ever since then I feel like they've really been dominating the Phoenix Suns, and they've definitely been helped by the fact that Chris Paul is obviously injured out there, but so is Anthony Davis, and I don't know if that's necessarily an excuse. Everybody's at least a little bit hurt at this point of the season, but of course the fact that Chris Paul is obviously hurt out there definitely helps the Lakers' case to win this series. Chris Paul's a huge part of that Phoenix Suns team, and he's one of the main reasons why they went from the 10th or 9th seed last year, I don't even remember, to the 2nd seed this year. A crazy turnaround, and Chris Paul's definitely a huge reason for that. And obviously Devin Booker out there is still Devin Booker. He's a great scorer in this league, and he's definitely also one of the biggest reasons why the Suns made such a huge leap this year. So he's going to be very difficult to stop. You're not really going to be able to stop this guy. You can just try to contain him. And of course I do have DeAndre Ayton, which is playing pretty well in the series against Anthony Davis. He's still playing pretty well, so that's good to see for them. They just have a very solid team all around. They have some superstars like Devin Booker, and Chris Paul he's older, but but I feel like he is still a superstar. He's playing that well. And they have nice young guys like DeAndre Ayton. They have good shooters like Mikal Bridges. They got a very nice, well-rounded team in the Phoenix Suns, and they definitely shouldn't be looked down upon. They're a very good team in this league. They're definitely no slouch, and the fact that the Lakers are up 2-1 doesn't mean that the series is over. Obviously, the Phoenix Suns could easily win next game and come back in the series. But with that being said, I would definitely say at this point in the series, the Lakers are clear favorites. They're dominating the Suns in the past 2 games. Because when you look at the Lakers offensively, they're getting easy baskets, they're moving the ball around very effectively, and they're finding the open guy, or AD or LeBron are just dominating on the offensive end, and they're just getting easy buckets offensively. But when you turn around and look at the Phoenix Suns, the Lakers are definitely putting a lot more pressure on the Suns, and it's much harder for the Suns to score than it is the Lakers. So I would definitely say I think the Lakers are going to win this series, and looking past this series, they would probably play the Denver Nuggets, I would assume. And I think the Lakers definitely do have a great chance against the Nuggets as well, because they don't have Jamal Murray, and the Lakers are starting to round into form, and at full strength, this Lakers team is very difficult to stop. And then let's say, assuming they beat the Denver Nuggets, then they would most likely play either the Dallas Mavericks or the Utah Jazz, unless the Clippers get it together, of course. But let's just assume it's going to be, let's say the Dallas Mavericks, who have been playing really well. I would definitely say the Lakers have a great shot against the Dallas Mavericks. It would be a huge surprise if the Dallas Mavericks beat the Los Angeles Lakers. So then in the finals, probably against the Brooklyn Nets. Now that's a tough matchup for the Lakers, and that's a very close one. I think I would edge it out to the Brooklyn Nets because they have so many superstars, but the Lakers definitely have a decent shot at that, and I think it would be a decently close series if that was a finals matchup. But going back to the title of this video, are the Lakers rounding back into championship form? I definitely think they are, with everyone getting healthy again, like LeBron and AD. Hopefully AD gets a little more healthy going forward, but with those two starting to get more healthy and starting to get that chemistry back, and other players on their team like Dennis Schroeder, Wesley Matthews, and other guys on their team starting to step up and helping them out on the defensive end and the offensive end, I definitely think this Laker team is rounding into form to try to compete for an NBA championship again. Of course, like any other team, the biggest thing with the Lakers is health. If LeBron and AD are healthy, they're definitely the favorites to get out of the West, and unless they play the Brooklyn Nets, they would be the favorite to whoever they would play for coming out of the East, unless it's the Brooklyn Nets. After all the injuries and somewhat of a rough season for the Lakers during the regular season, it's really good to see everyone getting back healthy and starting to round into form to try to compete for an NBA championship, and I really think they are going to compete for an NBA championship. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think the Lakers do potentially have a chance to win an NBA championship, or do you think the Lakers aren't good enough and maybe the Brooklyn Nets are going to win a championship this year? But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did enjoy, please leave a like and subscribe. It really helps me out a lot. Until the next time, peace out, guys.